to the Ministries of Education and Health that we should prepare for a gradual reopening of learning institutions by September of this year. So our ministry has already started going to the field to physically assess, and what we are avoiding is people giving us shopping lists, which is the usual thing. We want to go and check at what is precisely necessary so that we can open our schools and ensure that our children are safe. And in that regard, we have started by thinking of the most important thing, which is the health and safety of our children. And we have not started this week, actually. We started late last week. We have traveled, myself and the PS and the other people, to identify whether water storage is a challenge in primary schools within the nation. And what we have found out is still gratifying, because even the three schools that we have been to this morning, the three primary schools we have been to this morning, have adequate water storage facilities. Some of them have piped water, some of them have shallow well water. And so what we are going to consider now, which is actually the elephant in the room, and you know, is the issue of social and physical distancing. Because our schools are already full to capacity, to the extent that we had just completed 100% transition at the time we were visited by COVID. So you'll be seeing our officials across the nation taking physical stock. We now have the correct data, and I think it is for us to use it judiciously. For example, we know the number of schools, both public and private. We know the number of children in both pre-primary, primary and secondary, in both public and private schools. And we know the number of teachers in those schools, and that is power. As far as the government is concerned, we are under very strict instruction to ensure that we involve the stakeholders as we prepare for the reopening. And from within the Ministries of Education and Health, we have already formed several committees, and those committees are working on the brick and mortar of what has to be done before we open schools. They are not working around table. They are going to come out to the field to consult the stakeholders, as was ordered by His Excellency the President. But the bottom line, ladies and gentlemen, is perhaps what most Kenyans and other people in the world do not want to hear. In order for us to open in September, the government has given a raft of financial support, which I'll read for you at the end. But the Ministry of Health must be satisfied that all the children and the teachers and all staff in schools are going to be safe as we open the schools. It is also our duty as handymen of His Excellency the President, perhaps sometimes to tell him what he does not want to hear. We wouldn't want to guide the President to open schools only to close them a week or two later, like is now happening in Beijing, like has happened in Israel, like has happened in South Korea and many other countries. So we must prepare to do this.